So when I was 19, I lived on a commune, because that's what you did in the mid-70s. And my commune was called Cademan. And the neighboring commune was called Settle, 1T. And I fell madly in love with one of the guys that lived on the neighboring commune, Settle, with 1T. And his name was Joey Silverman, and I fell so hard for him. And he was about 7 years older than me, so I think he always was like, "Oh, Elaine, you know, nothing will come of this. You're just," like, he didn't say it, but I mean, the vibe was, "Nothing will come of this. I will never love you. Grow up. You know, stop coming over to our commune to borrow stuff just to see me. Blah, blah, blah." So my girlfriend Margaret, who I lived with on this commune, we also made candles in the candle factory and sold them on Yonge Street. And my spot was in front of the Colonial, and I made a killing. So Margaret and I decided that we wanted to go to California. And Joey, who had lived in California and had friends in California, he wanted to come too. So I was so excited. I get to be stuck in a car with Margaret, my best friend, whatever, but with Joey. And I didn't have a driver's license, and they were both driving. So whoever was driving, obviously they were sitting behind on the driver's seat, even though I didn't have a driver's license, I figured that out. And the person that was the driver that wasn't currently driving would be in the back seat. So that was huge, because that meant I got to sit next to Joey when he was driving. And it's not like he could say, "Oh, Elaine, go home. You're at Settle, 1T, too much. So, and you're always mooning around me." No, we were stuck in a car. And I was so excited. Now, there's a whole other part of the story where it took us 4 tries to get across the border. And that's a great story, too. But that doesn't have the love and the emotion of this story. So, well, the unrequited love. So, we were in the car, and we were driving, and because A, I didn't know how to drive, and B, I was in love with Joey Silverman, my job was to lovingly spread cottage cheese on Triscuits. And sometimes I'd hand them to him, but sometimes I'd see if I could put it in his mouth so that I could touch his lips. So on this love had no bounds. Like, I was absolutely convinced that this was my man. I almost think the word soulmate, overly tired phrase that it is, hadn't even been used back then, because he was more than that. So while we were driving, Joey stopped, in Nebraska or something, and he called his friend Stanley Smolowitz. We're on our way, what's going on? And he was on his way to visit Stanley Smolowitz. And he gets back to the car after his phone call, and he's like even more fabulous and more excited and more amazing than normal. And he said, "Oh my God, I just found out Stanley is getting married. I can't believe it, how exciting." We drive for a couple miles, and he looks at me and he goes, I know, Elaine, we should get married." Oh my God. And based on our names, I'm Elaine Gold, he's Joey Silverman. It was perfect. He said, "Let's get married. You'll be like Elaine Gold Woman Silver, and I'll be whoever I am. And we're going to have Jewish babies, and we're going to be together, and we're going to get married just like Stanley is getting married to his girlfriend. We're going to do the same thing." Okay. I was pretty excited. Now, I was also 19, and so just about everything was making me excited. And I was excited with those damn Triscuits. Come on, I'm spreading that cottage cheese on. I'm putting them in Joey's mouth. It was perfection. So we're driving out there, and just about in Nevada, we're, if you know geography, we're almost in California. And Joey turns to me and he goes, "We aren't gonna get married." I got caught up in Stanley's engagement, and we're not. And I was like, "Oh, of course I knew that was just a joke." Inside, I'm crumbling. I'm devastated, and I'm beyond hurt. But I am excited about going to California. So Margaret and I and Joey, we get to California, and then Joey goes off to San Francisco to hang out with his sister and her family. And Margaret and I, we go and get into so much fucking trouble. But my love for Joey doesn't do anything but get stronger. So eventually I got back to Canada, and got back to, I got back to where I lived, where my parents lived, St. Catharines, and I decided I would go to nursing school, and I've never even taken science all through high school. I don't even actually know, and I tell my kids this all the time, if I even have a high school diploma. I don't know. My diploma would be in smoking hash and listening to Neil Young. But I managed to get into nursing school, and I had all these plans, I'm gonna tell Joey, and he's gonna be so excited, and, eventually I will be with Joey. So I was in Owen Sound. That's the only place I could get in. And when it was coming up to the Christmas holidays, I don't celebrate Christmas because I'm Jewish, and also Joey wouldn't. So I thought that it would be a fabulous idea. Now remember, there's no form of communication except a long cursive missive written on paper and a stamp, and you put it in an envelope, you put the stamp on it, and you put it in a mailbox. I mean, it sounds quaint, but that was all we had. So I'm writing Joey letters from nursing school, and I'm calling him. I don't believe that he ever wrote me a letter, and occasionally I did communicate with him on the phone. But my love for him didn't go anywhere. It was as strong as ever. And I just thought, how much time is left till I get to have those Jewish babies with my beloved Joey Silverman from Settle 1T. So Christmas comes, it's starting to be whatever. So on December 24th, I pack up my backpack, put in the essentials, right? Which back then was nothing. And I hitchhiked from Owen Sound to north of Bancroft to Maynooth. Oh my God is right. And it's so like back then people hitchhiked and you didn't think anything of it. One time I was hitchhiking and this guy picked me up like a family man guy. He didn't do anything weird. He goes, "I gotta stop at my daughter's and see my grandchildren, and then we'll get back on the road." I had the best time. We had dinner. What didn't we do? So hitchhiking, it seemed safe to me. So I hitchhiked to Maynooth, and then I had to find a road and then a road off a road, and I had decided, because I was real smart about relationships, that I was going to get Joey to meet me at my friend Jenny's log cabin in the woods. Because once I get him in that log cabin, he will fall in love with me, okay? So, I'm pretty sure that I called him and I asked him if he wanted to do this. I perhaps sent a letter or two explaining that we're gonna meet at Jenny's cabin outside of Maynooth. And he was also visiting our friend George, who was an artist who had a studio in Maynooth. So I knew he was gonna be in the area. So I said, we're gonna meet at Jenny's cabin around 3 o'clock on December 24th and fall in love. I didn't say that, but it was implied. Okay. So I get up there. I'm telling you, the hitchhiking back then was so efficient. And I got let off, and there's roads, and there's nooks, and there's all sorts of things. And it's really cold because it's like north, and it's Maynooth, and it's cold. And I'm like bundled up, I guess. And there's a lot of snow. There's so much snow. Deep, heavy snow everywhere. And so I get to the cabin, I find it. And if you know about the world. December 24th is quite a short day. So oh my God, I was so stupid. So I get to the cabin, and it's still light out, but and I have a wristwatch. It's probably the same one I'm wearing now. I'm just such a little nerd. And I could see, I don't know, it's like 5 to 3. I'm like, oh, perfect, I'm on time. So I get in there, and I'm thinking, and I'm just such a klutz, and I'm thinking, I should probably light the wood stove. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, like, do I even have matches? Like, I probably had weed, but no matches. Like, that's it. It's a kind of goofy hippie I was. So I think I should light the wood stove. But I'm real nervous about it, and I think if I fuck this up, I'm gonna burn down Jenny's cabin. And not that I even felt bad about that, but I felt, well, where will Joey and I consummate our love? So I thought, okay, Joey, for sure, is gonna be here any minute. And so I'm gonna wait, because he, until he gets here before I light the wood stove and set Jenny's cabin ablaze. So, and also, okay, remember, this is the 70s. People were walking around with water bottles back then, okay? And I'm thankful there wasn't all the plastic water bottles too, but at that time, I would have fucking loved one. So I had no water, and I had no snacks, okay? Granola had been invented, but it hadn't been formed into bars yet. So I was woefully unprepared for this. And I'm waiting, and I'm getting a little light out of the luminescence of my watch, which would be the present day equivalent of a flashlight on a phone. And I was just getting really sad. And I was actually extremely cold, very hungry, and could have frozen to death. But what was overriding all this was my sadness as to, well, where's Joey? Why hasn't Joey shown up? Then I started kind of thinking back, and it's also getting dark, and I'm thinking, had I fully fleshed out this plan with him? Because I am sitting in a deserted log cabin with a little crappy couch and a thin muslin blanket, no food, no water, no heat, because I'm too much of a pussy to try to figure out how to light the wood stove. And it's getting really dark. Like, it gets dark out in the country, right? It's not like dark in Toronto. So I started realizing, aside from the fact that the love of my life had perhaps no intention of appearing, I could possibly die sitting in Jenny's cabin waiting for someone I have an unrequited thing for to appear. And so I sit, and I sit, and I start getting upset with myself. Now, I'm already so upset with Joey, and I'm so upset with the fact that he possibly isn't super in love with me, and maybe we're not gonna make those Jewish babies. we're definitely not making them tonight. So I start getting real concerned. And I think, how long are you, and I think, what if I leave to save my, actually at this point it'd be saving my life, but no, what if I leave and then Joey comes right after I've left? We miss each other. And then it never happens. But then I started thinking, okay, Gold, you're an idiot. Stand up, throw the muslin blanket aside that's doing nothing for you, and you gotta get out, you gotta go. You cannot sit in this dark, freezing cold cabin. I could see, okay, obviously I could see my breath, and I kept thinking, oh, I think he'll be here any minute. And like, I would like, is that a car? No. Probably wild animals. Like, I was starting to be scared to death. So eventually, yeah, I get up, I toss the blanket over. I didn't put my jacket on because I had never taken it off. It was freezing cold. So I go out and I start walking. Again, I use my little watch to try to light the way. You know, sometimes I wonder if we need all the modern technology we have, but oh my God, how different this would have been. You know, well, okay, it could happen now. Yeah, I'm 68. I could probably do something just as stupid now. So I start walking. I can't see anything. I haven't eaten in a really long time. I haven't had water. I'm crying, of course. Why doesn't Joey love me? Why doesn't he love me? Where is he? Why doesn't he love me? Not even realizing I could, you know, if I don't get my shit together, I'm gonna die, like outside Jenny's cabin in a snowdrift. Oh, and I should mention, nobody knew I was there. Now, I thought Joey knew I was there, but apparently he didn't even know I was there. So I start walking, and I'm really thinking, okay, like, don't fuck up, and don't, like, fall into a snowdrift, and don't, like, trip, and, like, do something. Don't make this worse, if it could even be worse. And why doesn't Joey love me? So I'm walking, and it's so dark, and then, you know, oh my God. Up ahead, I do see a little house. It's like a cartoon. It's like a hallucination. I see a house, I see lights. There's smoke billowing out of the chimney. And I think, I can't, it's Christmas Eve. So they really need a little broken-hearted Jewish girl showing up at their door on Christmas Eve, but there's no alternative. I can't, obviously there's no phone I can get to. There's no cars, I can't do my magical hitchhiking. I'm stranded. So I knock on the door. And, I mean, I could be knocking into axe murderers, which I wouldn't care about because I was still so upset about Joey. If someone murdered me, I would just be like, I don't even care. I don't have anything to live for. I knock on the door, and, I thought it was an old lady. She was probably 45. Comes to the door, so sweet, thank God. And she looks at me, and I said, I was waiting for Joey, and he didn't come, and I'm at Jenny's cabin, and I don't know where I am, and it's dark, and I don't have any food. So she said, oh my God, just come. Really, if people said this back then, she probably would say, shut the fuck up. But she said, just come in, don't worry. And her husband comes over, and he's like, what's going on? And she's like, this girl is standing here, and she's lost, and she doesn't know what she's doing. And I walk in, and it's all cozy, and there's like warm blankets all over the place on the back of the sofa, and it smells really good, and it's Christmas Eve. Like, I'm sure I'm busting something up. And also, I'd never seen Christmas Eve, because I'm Jewish, and I was like, whoa, they had a Christmas tree, and presents, and I'm like, okay, Joey's not here, but this is kind of cool, too. So I sit down and they wrap me in blankets, and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, the only thing that would make this better, of course, if Joey was wrapping me in a blanket. So, they couldn't be nicer, and they have a son, and I remember thinking, wow, they're so old to be having kids. They were so not old. So they were lovely, though. I mean, they could have done anything to me. But what they did do was they gave me dinner. And I sat down and I had this big bowl of like delicious stew, and there was bread, and I'm a big eater, but I was like embarrassingly eating. And then I think I had a hot shower after that. I was like, oh my God. And then I went to bed, and you know, nowadays, if something like that happened to any of us, we would toss and turn and say, oh, what a fool I am. Oh no, I just conked out. I was 19. I would just, I don't know, who cares? So, in the morning, so before I go to sleep though, I think, well, I'll call Joey, and called him at George's studio. I call him, and he goes, yeah, hi. So, I'm in Maynooth, I'm on Hibbler Road, and I was just at Jenny's cabin. He goes, yeah, okay. I said, weren't you supposed to meet me there? And he goes, I don't know about that. I was like, what? This was all in my head? I imagined this, and I thought we were gonna make love and Jewish babies in Jenny's cabin in front of a roaring wood stove, and I never even told him about it. And I almost died in that cabin waiting for someone that didn't even know I was waiting for them. And he seems oblivious. But I couldn't have loved him more. So he says, George and I'll come and get you tomorrow. And so then is when I went to sleep. Just had an incredible sleep. Was fabulous. In the morning, Christmas morning, I'm really busting up their world. Honest to God, I almost feel, I imagine they gave me a present, but they didn't. Here, this is for you from Santa. Maybe dreams will come true. And I open up, it's a picture of Joey. I don't know. So I have this incredible breakfast, you know. I heard that non-Jews, they do a real good Christmas breakfast. And there I was. And hung out, drinking coffee, and then Joey and George came to get me. And they were calm and cool, and Joey was, hey, Elaine, you want to ride? Like I was gonna move in with these people. No, I'm good, I'm just gonna stay with these strangers, because now I'm really into Christmas. So I get in the car, and God damn it, I loved him even more. And that's how I spent my first Christmas, and I still love Joey. Thank you.